For 300 years, the Galactic Council sent messages to Earth. The first messages were peaceful. They offered friendship, trade, advanced technology, and protection. Like every young civilization before them, humanity was expected to join the Great Alliance of the galaxy. But Earth never answered. At first, the Council believed humans were simply too primitive to understand the signals. Then decades passed. Human technology improved. Earth expanded beyond its solar system. Human colonies appeared near distant stars. Still, no answer came. After 100 years, the Council became annoyed. After 200 years, they became suspicious. After 300 years, they became afraid. Because humanity had done something no species had ever dared to do. They ignored the galaxy itself. Inside the massive Galactic Council chamber above Vera Prime, thousands of alien leaders sat beneath glowing lights and floating holograms. The chamber was larger than a city. Giant pillars stretched high into darkness, while stars shined through the glass dome overhead. But on this day, the atmosphere felt cold, tense. Every screen inside the chamber showed the same image. Earth, blue oceans, white clouds, a peaceful-looking world hiding behind silence. High Chancellor Vaylor stood at the center platform with his hands behind his back. His silver robes moved softly as he looked across the chamber. "The Council has waited long enough," he said calmly. His deep voice echoed everywhere. "For 3 centuries, humanity has ignored every diplomatic message we sent." A large hologram appeared behind him. It showed thousands of old transmissions sent to Earth over the centuries. Invitations, warnings, demands. None were answered. An alien senator from the Eastern Spiral Systems stood up angrily. "This is an insult to the entire galaxy," she shouted. "No civilization refuses the Council." Many agreed loudly, but others remained silent, because everyone knew the truth. Humanity was not weak. Far from it. Over the last 50 years, strange reports had spread across Council space. Pirate fleets disappearing overnight. Unknown warships destroying slavers near border colonies. Secret military stations found abandoned after black armored ships appeared from nowhere. Every witness described the same thing. Dark human vessels, without identification. Watching, waiting, then vanishing back into deep space. Vaylor raised his hand, silencing the chamber. 3 days ago, he continued slowly, Council scouts confirmed the existence of hidden human fleets. The hologram changed. Gasps filled the chamber instantly. Thousands of enormous warships floated across the screen. The fleet stretched so far it disappeared into darkness. Heavy carriers, massive destroyers, moon-sized battle stations. No species in the galaxy possessed fleets that large. An older ambassador leaned forward nervously. "How long have they been building this?" he whispered. No one answered, because nobody knew. Another council member stood suddenly. "This is madness," he said. "Humans are preparing for war." "Against who?" someone asked quietly. Silence followed. That question frightened everyone. Because if humanity had built such fleets in secret for centuries, then maybe they feared something far worse than the Galactic Council. Suddenly, alarms exploded across the chamber. Red lights flashed everywhere. Officers rushed between control stations. A young communications officer looked up with fear in his eyes. Unknown fleets entering Council territory. The chamber froze. "How many?" Vaylor demanded. The officer swallowed hard. "Thousands." Panic spread instantly. New holograms appeared above the chamber showing star systems across the galaxy. Red warning symbols flashed rapidly near the outer sectors. Defense stations destroyed. Border fleets lost contact. Hyperspace gates offline. Voices shouted across the room. "It's an invasion." "Who attacked us?" Then another officer turned pale. "We have visual confirmation." The hologram changed again. Dark ships emerged from hyperspace like giant shadows. Human ships. The entire chamber became silent. One senator whispered slowly, "Humanity." At that exact moment, every screen inside the chamber went black. For several seconds, nothing appeared. Then a human face slowly emerged from the darkness. An old man, gray hair, a scar across one eye. His expression was calm, but his eyes looked cold as steel. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The man stared directly into the chamber. For 300 years, he said quietly, the Galactic Council knocked on humanity's door. His voice was calm, but every word felt heavy. We heard every message. The chamber remained completely silent. The human continued. You offered friendship. A hologram behind him showed old council transmissions. You offered peace. More images appeared. Then came threats. The old man's eyes hardened slightly. But humanity stayed silent for one reason. He leaned forward. We were deciding whether this galaxy was worth saving. Fear spread across the chamber instantly. Before anyone could speak, the transmission ended. Then the real horror began. Far above the planet Reiner, one of the richest core worlds in the galaxy, citizens watched the stars suddenly disappear. Thousands of giant black warships blocked the sky. Emergency sirens screamed across cities. Orbital defense cannons opened fire instantly, sending beams of blue light into space. The human ships did not dodge. They pushed forward slowly through explosions. Then they attacked. Massive red beams tore through defense platforms like paper. Entire battle stations exploded in seconds. Council fleets rushed forward, but human ships moved with terrifying precision. Every attack was planned perfectly. Communication towers destroyed first. Shipyards second. Military command centers third. It was not chaos. It was controlled, calculated. Humanity had studied the galaxy for centuries. And now the galaxy was losing its first war against them. Deep beneath Earth's surface, inside a hidden military fortress buried under ice and steel, Supreme Admiral Elias Ward watched the battle. The signal from outside the galaxy changed everything. Inside Earth's underground command fortress, warning alarms echoed through the steel corridors. Officers rushed between glowing control stations while giant holograms flickered across the dark war room. Supreme Admiral Elias Ward stood silently at the center platform. The unknown signal continued repeating across every screen. Slow. Ancient. Almost alive. One young officer looked nervous as he studied the data. Sir, the signal is moving. The room became quiet. Another officer turned sharply. Moving where? The answer came seconds later. Toward the Milky Way. Fear spread across several faces. Ward closed his eyes briefly. For 300 years, humanity had prepared for this exact moment. And now it had begun. Far away, inside the damaged Galactic Council chamber above Vera Prime, chaos filled the air. Emergency lights flashed red, while military commanders argued loudly across holographic battle maps. Entire sectors had already fallen to the human armada. But what frightened the Council most was not the attack itself. It was how easily humanity had defeated them. Council fleets, once believed unstoppable, were collapsing within hours. High Chancellor Vaylor stood near the shattered central platform watching battle reports appear one after another. Rhino lost. Defense Fleet 7 destroyed. Outer colonies surrendering. Each report made the chamber quieter. Finally, an elderly scientist from the northern system stepped forward carefully. There is something strange about the human attacks, she said. Vaylor looked toward her. Explain. She activated a hologram showing destroyed military targets across the galaxy. The pattern shocked everyone instantly. Humans had only attacked military locations. No civilian cities were destroyed. No planetary bombardments. No mass killings. One senator frowned deeply. That makes no sense, he whispered. If humans wanted conquest, why spare civilians? Nobody answered, because nobody understood humanity's true goal yet. Suddenly another transmission appeared on the chamber screens. The same human officer from before. Admiral Elias Ward. This time his face looked even more serious. You are wasting time preparing to fight us, Ward said calmly. Angry voices immediately filled the chamber. You attacked Council worlds. You invaded our space. You started this war. Ward allowed the shouting to continue for several seconds before speaking again. No, he said quietly. His cold eyes scanned the chamber. We started preparing for survival. The room slowly became silent. Vaylor stepped forward carefully. What are you talking about? Ward looked toward him. 300 years ago, humanity discovered something beyond the edge of the galaxy. The hologram behind him changed. A dead world appeared. The planet was completely black. No oceans. No cities. No life. Massive scars covered the surface like the planet itself had been torn apart. This world once held a civilization older than the Galactic Council, Ward explained. Another image appeared. Then another. Hundreds of dead planets filled the chamber. Entire solar systems abandoned. Ancient stations floating empty in darkness. Every species in the chamber stared silently. These civilizations disappeared long before your council existed, Ward continued. And humanity discovered why. The final image appeared. At first, nobody understood what they were seeing. Then fear slowly spread across the chamber. Giant mechanical structures floated in deep space. Dark. Endless. Thousands of machine ships stretching across the stars. An ancient machine civilization. Silent. Waiting. One council member whispered shakily, "Impossible." Ward's voice remained calm. "They are called the Silence." The chamber stayed frozen. "They do not negotiate," Ward said. "They do not conquer." The hologram zoomed closer toward one of the machine ships. "They erase." Suddenly the screens showed old human recordings. A small exploration fleet drifting near dead space. Excited human voices. Then static. Darkness. And finally, the arrival of enormous machine vessels. The human fleet vanished in seconds. No survivors. The recording ended. Silence covered the chamber. For centuries, Ward continued, humanity searched the galaxy for signs of them. More images appeared. Destroyed civilizations. Ancient ruins. Entire species erased from history. Every extinction followed the same pattern. The Silence waited until civilizations became advanced enough. Then they destroyed them completely. An angry senator slammed his fist down. "You expect us to believe this story?" Ward's expression never changed. "You already do." Nobody replied, because deep inside, they knew humanity was not lying. The evidence was everywhere now. Vaylor spoke slowly. "If this threat is real, why didn't humanity warn the galaxy?" Ward looked directly at him. Because the council would have panicked. Several senators looked away nervously. "You spent centuries fighting each other over borders and trade," Ward continued. "Humanity understood something important." The hologram changed again. Massive hidden shipyards appeared near black holes and dead stars. Human factories producing endless warships. Weapon stations hidden inside moons. We needed time. The scale of humanity's secret preparation shocked everyone. 300 years of silent military expansion. 300 years preparing for a war nobody else knew existed. Then suddenly, warning alarms screamed across the chamber again. A terrified officer rushed forward. "Emergency report from the Outer Rim." A hologram appeared instantly. One of the Council's largest defense fleets floated near the edge of the galaxy. Over 2,000 warships. Then space itself began to distort. Dark shapes slowly emerged from hyperspace. Machine ships. Larger than cities. Their surfaces glowed with strange red symbols. The Council fleet opened fire immediately. Thousands of energy beams struck the machines. Nothing happened. The machine ships continued moving forward silently. Then they attacked. Red waves of energy spread across space. Council warships simply disappeared. Not destroyed. Gone. As if erased from reality itself. Fear exploded through the chamber. Within minutes, the entire fleet vanished. The galaxy was falling into fear. Across thousands of worlds, emergency broadcasts filled the skies. News channels showed the destruction of the outer defense fleet again and again. Entire populations watched giant machine ships erase war fleets like dust. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council understood something terrifying. They were not the rulers of the galaxy anymore. They were prey. Inside the council chamber above Vera Prime, Silence covered the room like a shadow. No senators argued now. No one shouted about politics or borders. Fear had made everyone equal. High Chancellor Vaylor stood near the center platform staring at the frozen hologram of the vanished fleet. 2,000 warships gone in minutes. Not even debris remained. A military commander finally spoke in a weak voice. How do we fight something like that? Nobody answered. Because there was only one species in the galaxy that had prepared for this war. Humanity. At that same moment, deep beneath Earth's surface, Admiral Elias Ward entered the lowest level of the underground fortress. Few humans even knew this place existed. Massive steel doors opened slowly as armed guards stepped aside. Beyond them stood a giant dark chamber filled with ancient machines and glowing blue screens. At the center of the room floated a damaged alien object nearly the size of a building. Black metal, covered in strange red symbols. One young officer looked nervous. Is that one of their ships? Ward nodded slowly. Part of one. The officer stared at the object with fear. Humanity had captured the machine fragment over 200 years earlier near dead space beyond the galaxy. Since then, Earth scientists had spent generations studying it, trying to understand it, trying to survive it. An elderly scientist approached Ward carefully. The fragment is reacting again, she said quietly. Red symbols across the machine surface suddenly began glowing brighter. Then a voice echoed through the chamber. Cold. Mechanical. Ancient. Organic civilizations detected. Several officers stepped backward nervously. The voice continued. Cycle continuation confirmed. The machine fragment slowly powered up further. Holograms appeared above it showing entire galaxies burning. Worlds destroyed. Stars collapsing. Endless machine fleets moving through darkness, like a plague. The scientist looked pale. We still don't know how old they are, she whispered. Ward stared at the images silently. But humanity had learned enough. The silence had existed long before most civilizations evolved. And wherever intelligent life spread too far, the machines appeared. Not out of anger. Not out of hate. Simply to erase them. The machine voice echoed once more. Advanced civilizations threaten universal stability. The hologram shifted again. Now it showed human worlds. Earth. Mars. Titan. Highlighted in red. Humanity classified as priority extinction target. Suddenly alarms exploded across the chamber. An officer rushed toward Ward. Sir. Massive hyperspace ruptures detected near the outer colonies. The room instantly became active. Ward turned sharply. How many ships? The officer swallowed hard. Too many to count. Far away, near the edge of Council territory, the colony world of Asteron prepared for evacuation. Millions of civilians rushed toward emergency shelters while ships filled the skies above the planet. Council fleets formed defensive lines around the system. Their commanders knew they could not win, but they hoped to buy time. A young alien captain stood aboard the cruiser Valiner watching dark space ahead. Then he saw them. At first they looked like tiny red stars. Then the stars began moving. Hundreds. Thousands. Machine ships emerged from hyperspace in complete silence. No battle cries. No communication. Only endless black metal stretching across space. The captain's hands shook slightly. Open fire. Thousands of weapons lit up the darkness. Energy beams slammed into the advancing machine fleet. Explosions covered space. But when the smoke cleared, the machines were still coming. Untouched. One officer whispered in horror. Their shields aren't weakening. Then the machine fleet attacked. Red energy waves spread outward across space. Council ships vanished instantly after touching the waves. Entire cruisers disappeared without explosions. Like reality itself erased them. Panic spread through the fleet. Retreat. Fall back. It's killing us. The defense line collapsed within minutes. Above Asteron, civilians watched giant shadows descend through the clouds. Machine structures landed across entire continents. The ground itself began changing. Cities dissolved into gray dust. Oceans turned black. Even the planet was being erased. Deep inside the Galactic Council chamber, emergency transmissions from Asteron suddenly cut off. Silence followed. Another world lost. Valor slowly lowered his head. "We cannot stop them," one senator whispered. Another looked toward the human communication channel. "We need humanity." At that same moment, a different problem was growing inside the council itself. Not everyone trusted humans. Deep within the station, hidden below the main government sectors, several council leaders gathered secretly around a glowing table. One of them slammed his fist down angrily. "This is exactly what humans wanted." Others nodded. "They attacked us first. They weakened our fleets. And now they expect control of the galaxy." A tall military official stepped forward carefully. "There may still be another option." The room became quiet. He activated a hologram showing an ancient weapon hidden beneath the council capital. Forbidden technology. Built thousands of years earlier during the First Galactic Wars. A stellar rift engine. A weapon powerful enough to destroy entire fleets instantly. The official spoke quietly. "If humanity cannot defeat the machines, then we will." One nervous senator hesitated. That weapon was banned for a reason. But fear had already taken control of the room. Outside the station windows, more evacuation fleets filled space. More worlds were falling every hour. Finally, the lead senator nodded. "Activate the rift engine." Far beneath the council capital, giant ancient machines slowly awakened for the first time in ages. Massive energy reactors began glowing red. Warning systems screamed across hidden chambers. And far beyond the galaxy, the silence noticed. Inside Earth's command fortress, Admiral Ward suddenly looked up sharply as new alerts flashed across his screens. The galaxy was dying. Every hour, more stars went silent. Entire worlds vanished from communication maps without warning. Trade routes collapsed. Refugee fleets filled space between systems while billions searched desperately for somewhere safe. But there was nowhere left to run. The silence was everywhere now. After the activation of the Forbidden Rift engine, the machine empire fully awakened. What humanity feared for 3 centuries had finally arrived in full force. And the galaxy was not ready. Inside the Galactic Council chamber above Vera Prime, panic ruled everything. Emergency sirens screamed non-stop. Military officers shouted over each other while giant holograms showed red warning symbols spreading across the galactic map like a disease. One more core world had fallen. Then another. Then 5 more within the same hour. High Chancellor Valor stood frozen near the center platform. He could barely recognize the galaxy anymore. Entire sectors were disappearing faster than reports could update. A frightened officer rushed toward him. "Sir, the machine fleets are bypassing outer colonies." Valor frowned. "What?" "They are moving directly toward the core worlds." The chamber became silent. Everyone understood what that meant. The silence was not attacking randomly. It was hunting the most advanced civilizations first, and the center of the galaxy was next. Far above the industrial world of Carthos Prime, millions watched the sky darken as giant machine ships descended through the clouds. Emergency broadcasts ordered civilians underground. But it was already too late. The machine fleet surrounded the planet completely. Council defense fleets fired everything they had. Thousands of missiles, planetary rail cannons, heavy plasma batteries. The machines ignored all of it. Then the red waves came. Entire warships vanished instantly. Defense stations disappeared like smoke. Even sections of the planet itself began dissolving into glowing dust. Cities collapsed silently. People ran through burning streets while black machine towers landed across the continents. Every tower released millions of tiny metal creatures that spread like insects across buildings, vehicles, and living bodies. Anything they touched turned gray and lifeless. One terrified mother held her child tightly while staring at the dark sky above. Then the entire city vanished. Not exploded. Erased. As if it had never existed. Deep beneath Earth's surface, humanity watched the destruction unfold in silence. Inside the underground command fortress, officers stood around giant holographic battle maps showing the collapse of the galaxy. Supreme Admiral Elias Ward looked exhausted for the first time in years. A young officer spoke carefully. "Sir, Council space is collapsing faster than predicted." Ward nodded slowly. Humanity had prepared for war, but not at this scale. Another officer turned toward him nervously. "The Council is requesting full military alliance." Ward remained silent. For 300 years, the Galactic Council treated humanity as a threat. Now they were begging for help. Finally, Ward spoke. "Open communication." Seconds later, Chancellor Vaylor appeared on the main screen. His face looked older now. Fear and exhaustion filled his eyes. "We were wrong about humanity," Vaylor admitted quietly. Nobody inside the command fortress reacted, because the truth no longer mattered. Only survival mattered now. Vaylor continued. "Our fleets are failing everywhere. If you have a plan, now is the time." Ward looked toward the galactic map before answering. "We cannot stop them by defending planets." Several council officers looked confused. "Then what do we do?" Vaylor asked. Ward's eyes hardened. "We attack the machine hive directly." The room fell silent. Humanity had discovered long ago that the silence operated through massive central command structures hidden deep in dark space. Destroy the hive nodes, and entire machine sectors would collapse. But reaching them was nearly impossible. The machines protected those locations with endless fleets. One council general shook his head. "That would be suicide." Ward looked directly at him. "Yes." Silence followed. Then Ward activated a hidden star map. Several red markers appeared near dying stars across the outer galaxy. Secret human shipyards. Hidden fleets. Weapons humanity had built in secret for centuries. Gasps spread across the council chamber. No one realized humanity possessed this much power. Ward spoke calmly. For 300 years, Earth prepared for extinction. The hologram zoomed closer toward enormous human dreadnoughts hidden beside dead suns. Each ship was larger than entire cities. Black armored hulls covered in weapon systems powerful enough to crack moons apart. The council watched in stunned silence. Humanity had secretly built the largest military force in galactic history, and they kept it hidden from everyone. Ward gave the order. "Activate all shadow fleets." Across hidden systems, giant human warships slowly awakened. Massive engines burned blue against the darkness. Ancient stations powered online. Millions of soldiers prepared for battle. Humanity was finally entering the war completely. Far away near the burning star system of Helios Gate, the first human counterattack began. Machine fleets surrounded the system like an endless black ocean. Then space itself ripped open. Hundreds of human dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace. The machines reacted instantly, but humanity attacked first. Huge rail cannons fired across space with terrifying force. Entire machine ships shattered apart for the first time in the war. Nuclear firestorms spread across the battlefield. Human fighter swarms moved between explosions with deadly precision. For the first time, the silence was being pushed backward. Council survivors watching the battle could hardly believe what they saw. Humanity was winning. Admiral Ward stood aboard the flagship Eternal Resolve as explosions lit the stars outside the command deck. "Target the hive carriers," he ordered calmly. Human ships surged forward through machine fire. Several dreadnoughts exploded instantly. Others kept moving despite massive damage. The battle became chaos. Metal debris filled space. Stars burned red behind endless warships. Then suddenly, every warning alarm aboard the Eternal Resolve activated at once. An officer turned pale. "Sir, new contacts detected." Ward looked toward the tactical display. His expression darkened immediately. The machine reinforcements were arriving. But these ships were different. Larger. Faster. The destruction at Helios Gate broke the galaxy's spirit. News of the battle spread faster than light itself. Entire human fleets had vanished in seconds before the giant machine command world. Systems that once believed humanity could save them now fell into silence and fear. For the first time since the war began, people believed the galaxy was truly doomed. Across thousands of worlds, Evacuation ships crowded the skies. Families abandoned cities. Governments collapsed overnight. Some planets surrendered without a fight. But the machines never accepted surrender. They erased everything equally. Deep beneath Earth's surface, inside the underground command fortress, the atmosphere felt heavy and cold. Huge holographic maps showed machine fleets advancing toward the solar system. Closer every hour. Officers moved silently between control stations while emergency alarms echoed through steel corridors. At the center of the room stood Admiral Elias Ward. His uniform was burned from the battle at Helios Gate. A fresh wound crossed his forehead, but he ignored it completely. One young officer looked toward him nervously. "Sir, machine scouts entered the outer solar system 30 minutes ago." Another officer added quietly, "Estimated time until full invasion, 48 hours." The room became silent. Humanity had prepared for this war for centuries. And now the final battle was coming to Earth itself. Ward slowly looked around the command center. Every face showed exhaustion, fear, but also determination. Because unlike the rest of the galaxy, humanity had known this day would come. "Begin Phase 0, Ward ordered calmly. Immediately, giant hidden systems activated across the solar system. Around Earth, enormous defense platforms emerged from beneath the oceans and mountains. Massive orbital cannons unfolded near the moon. Thousands of hidden warships powered online beside Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. Humanity's final defenses were awakening. Far above Earth, civilians looked toward the night sky as hundreds of human dreadnoughts filled orbit. Children watched silently from windows while emergency sirens echoed across cities. A little girl standing beside her father whispered softly, "Are the monsters coming?" The man looked at the warships above Earth. Then he forced himself to smile. "No," he said quietly. "They're already here." Meanwhile, inside the Galactic Council chamber, the surviving alien leaders watched Earth prepare for war. Nobody spoke, because now they finally understood something terrible. Humanity never built those fleets to conquer the galaxy. They built them to protect it. Chancellor Vaylor stood slowly. "What can we still offer Earth?" one senator asked weakly. Vaylor stared at the burning galactic map before answering. "Everything we have left." For the first time in galactic history, the Council placed all surviving fleets under human command. Across the galaxy, alien ships began moving toward the solar system. Old enemies fought side by side. Species that hated each other for centuries now shared ammunition, fuel, and soldiers. Because if Earth fell, nothing else would survive. Hours later, the first machine fleet entered the solar system. The darkness between planets filled with endless black ships stretching farther than sensors could track. Millions of them. At the center floated the giant machine command world from Helios Gate. Its red surface glowed like a dying sun. Inside Earth's command fortress, alarms screamed immediately. Enemy fleets entering combat range. Outer defense stations engaging. Machine carriers approaching Mars. Ward stepped forward calmly. "Hold the line." Then the battle for humanity began. Near Jupiter, hidden human minefields detonated across space. Entire machine formations vanished in nuclear fire. Human dreadnoughts attacked from behind Saturn's rings while alien fleets rushed forward beside them. The solar system became a battlefield larger than anything in history. Explosions covered entire planets. Broken ships drifted through burning debris. Machine fleets kept advancing no matter how many were destroyed. Human pilots fought like people already prepared to die. One damaged fighter squadron rammed directly into a machine carrier, destroying both ships instantly. A council captain watching the battle whispered in disbelief, "Humans are insane." But humanity understood something the galaxy never did. There was no retreat anymore. Above Mars, alien and human fleets fought together against impossible odds. Thousands of ships exploded every minute while giant machine towers descended toward the planet below. Still, the defense held. Barely. Then the machine command world moved closer to Earth. Its surface began glowing brighter than before. Ward stared at the tactical display silently. He knew what was coming next. The machine world was preparing another extinction wave. If it fired near Earth, the entire solar system would die instantly. An officer looked toward him desperately. "Sir, we cannot stop it." For several seconds, Ward said nothing. Then he gave the order humanity feared most. "Activate the last horizon." The entire command room froze. One officer turned pale. "Sir, that weapon was never tested." Ward's expression remained cold. "We don't have another choice." Deep beneath the ice of Pluto, something ancient awakened. Massive doors opened slowly across a hidden structure larger than a city. Inside rested humanity's final weapon. A colossal black machine built using technology recovered from the silence centuries earlier. Human scientists never fully understood it. But they learned one thing. The machines feared it. Back near Earth, the machine command world continued charging its weapon while human fleets collapsed one by one. The defense lines were breaking. Alien ships exploded across orbit. Mars fell silent. Saturn's fleets vanished. Even Earth's orbital cannons were failing. A young officer whispered softly, "We lost." Ward stared toward the stars. "No," he replied quietly. Then every machine fleet in the solar system suddenly stopped moving. For the first time during the war, the silence reacted with fear. Across every machine ship, warning signals echoed instantly. Far beyond Pluto, a giant black structure emerged slowly from darkness. Larger than moons, covered in glowing blue symbols. The last horizon. The machine command world immediately turned toward it. And for the first time in history, the silence began retreating. Human officers stared at their screens in shock. The battlefield around Earth became silent. For the first time since the war began, the endless machine fleets stopped attacking. Thousands of black ships floated motionless across the solar system, while burning debris drifted between planets. Broken human cruisers spun slowly through space beside destroyed alien fleets. Nobody understood what was happening. Inside Earth's underground command fortress, every officer stared at the giant hologram near Pluto. The last horizon. The ancient black structure continued moving slowly through darkness, while glowing blue symbols spread across its surface, like living fire. And the machines were retreating from it. Admiral Elias Ward stood completely still. His face looked colder than ever. One officer finally whispered nervously, "Sir, what exactly is that thing?" Ward answered quietly, "Our final mistake." The room became silent. Far outside Earth's orbit, the giant machine command world suddenly turned away from the planet. Red warning lights flashed across its massive surface. The silence was afraid. Then something impossible happened. A deep signal spread from the last horizon across the entire solar system. Every machine ship froze instantly. Human sensors exploded with strange readings. Lights flickered across command stations while officers struggled to understand the data flooding their screens. An elderly scientist looked horrified. "It's taking control of the machine network." Another officer shook his head quickly. "No, it's doing something worse." The giant hologram zoomed closer toward the machine fleets. One by one, the red lights covering the machine ships began turning blue. Then entire fleets powered down instantly. Weapons shut off. Engines died. Millions of machine vessels became silent statues floating in darkness. The last horizon had disabled them all. Shock spread across every surviving fleet in the solar system. After centuries of fear, the silence had fallen in minutes. But Admiral Ward did not look relieved. He looked terrified. Chancellor Vaylor appeared on the communication screen from the damaged Council flagship. "We won," one Council officer said weakly. Ward slowly shook his head. "No," he replied quietly. The command room became silent again. "Then what happened?" Vaylor asked carefully. Ward stared toward the giant black structure near Pluto. 300 years ago, humanity discovered the last horizon hidden beyond the edge of the galaxy. The hologram changed. Ancient human exploration footage appeared. A dead star system, ruined planets, and, at the center, the black structure waiting silently in darkness. "We believed it was a weapon built by an extinct civilization," Ward continued. Human scientists studying strange blue symbols appeared across the screens. For centuries, we tried to understand it. Ward's expression hardened. Then we discovered the truth. The hologram zoomed deeper inside the last horizon. Several alien leaders gasped immediately. A massive shape slept inside the structure. Something enormous. Something alive. The shape was larger than cities, covered in moving blue energy. An ancient creature imprisoned inside the machine. The silence was not built to destroy civilizations, Ward said quietly. The chamber became completely silent. It was built to contain that. Fear spread across every face. One senator whispered shakily, "What is it?" Ward answered slowly, "We never learned its real name." The hologram showed ancient destroyed galaxies beyond the Milky Way. Dead stars. Broken worlds. Entire civilizations erased long before humans existed. But every extinct species left behind the same warning. The sleeping creature slowly opened one glowing blue eye. "Do not wake it." Suddenly, every alarm inside the command fortress activated at once. The creature inside the last horizon was moving. Far outside Pluto, the giant black structure began cracking apart slowly. Blue energy spread across space like lightning. Entire moons trembled nearby. One terrified officer shouted, "Energy levels are rising beyond calculation." The surviving machine ships suddenly reactivated. But instead of attacking humanity, they turned toward the last horizon. The silence was trying to stop it. Millions of machine vessels rushed forward together in one final assault. Then the creature awakened fully. A wave of blue light exploded across the solar system. Entire machine fleets vanished instantly. Not destroyed. Erased completely. Even the giant machine command world shattered apart like glass. Human and alien fleets escaped only because the wave ignored organic life. The last horizon continued breaking open. And the thing inside kept waking up. Ward finally understood the horrible truth. Humanity had spent 300 years preparing for the wrong enemy. The silence had never been the monster. It was the cage. Earth's command fortress shook violently as the blue energy spread closer. One officer looked toward Ward desperately. "Sir, if that thing escapes the solar system." "I know," Ward interrupted quietly. He stared toward the stars for several long seconds. Then he gave humanity's final order. "Prepare the horizon gate." Several officers froze in shock. "Sir, that will destroy the entire outer system." Ward nodded slowly. "If we fail now, there won't be a galaxy left to save." Deep near Jupiter, hidden human stations activated one last secret weapon. Massive rings larger than planets powered online across space. Ancient engines built over centuries began glowing red. The Horizon Gate, humanity's true final defense. The creature inside the last horizon rose further as reality itself twisted around it. Space cracked. Stars dimmed. Even time seemed unstable near the giant blue form. Then the Horizon Gate activated. A massive rupture opened in space directly beneath the creature. For the first time, the ancient being reacted violently. The machine fleets attacked simultaneously from every direction while human dreadnoughts fired everything they had left. Earth's remaining orbital cannons overheated instantly. Entire fleets sacrificed themselves to hold the creature in place. Billions watched the battle live across the galaxy. Human ships burned. Alien fleets shattered. The creature screamed across space itself. Then the rupture swallowed it whole. The Horizon Gate collapsed immediately.